The wheels on the bus go round and round. Hello, everybody. Today's episode is brought to you by scissors. Remember, don't run with them. Okay, so I'm going to go back to a little family history story today. Now, this one might be a little embarrassing for some people, so I'm going to try to keep it as anonymous as possible. There's a few things you have to know ahead of time. Of course, if you know me, or if you've been paying attention to previous videos, you know that one of my sisters lives in upstate New York, and she has two kids, boy and a girl. And where she lives is about a 6-hour drive from here. And they used to come down fairly regularly. But and and well, another thing you have to know that'll come in later is um, Barb, the anonymous sister. One year she decided to get herself a bread machine, and it became kind of a running joke that even with the idiot proof machine that all you had to do was put the ingredients in and hit a button, she couldn't make bread. She had a tendency to come out, with these real hard crust on them. But anyway, we'll talk about that more later. So one year, they all came down to visit. Um, and it was in the summertime, and they stayed for a few days, and then they headed back home. And I remember me and my mother went outside and waved goodbye to them and stuff, and then came back inside, and I heard the TV playing, and I thought, I wasn't watching TV. And I walk in, and their eldest child, Andrew, is sitting here watching TV. They had left and left him behind. We hadn't even noticed. I'm sure they were just laughing the whole way back to New York. So anyway, he stayed here for a couple of weeks, and the original plan was he was going to ride a bus home. I think he was probably around 12 or so at the time. And so, yeah, we told him, he stayed for about 2 weeks, and then was going to give him a ride over to State College, to the bus station there, and he'd take the bus back to New York, to actually to told him Scranton. But in the meantime, when we talked on the phone, decided instead that we were just going to meet about halfway, which is Scranton. Just about. It was about 3 hours either way. It was near Scranton. It was actually it was what we always called the Bob exit, because there was a piece of highway up there that they named the Robert Casey Highway. But right there at the exit where you go to get on the Bob, there was, I think, a Denny's. So we decided to meet there, but didn't tell Andrew. So the day comes that we are doing this, we had set time and stuff, and told Andrew we had to go catch the bus, and he said he was going over to say goodbye to Aunt Brenda. He's over there, and I went out, and me and my mother are both at the car, and he's not around. I yelled over, "What are you doing?" I said, "Quit jerking around. We're going to miss the bus." And so he came over, and we head down the road. And as anybody who has ever traveled with kids know, pretty much anybody under the age of 16, and very often 25, when you're going on a trip, within a mile or two, they're usually asleep. And just as could hope, Andrew fell asleep in the back seat. So we go, and we get on Interstate 80. We're heading down the highway. And after a bit, he wakes up. He goes, "Where are we?" And I said, "Well, you were jerking around and made us late. We missed the bus. So now we're going to have to take you up there." It's like, "Oh, okay." And as we're heading down the road, and in fact, with what I said first, I said, "So we're going to have to go and try to catch the bus farther down." And we got to like the Lock Haven exit. And I said to my mother, I said, "Bus would have too far of a head start. We'll go farther down." And I kept making these kind of excuses for a while, and then I was saying things, and then I decided, well, we might as well just drive you the whole way up there to Scranton. And at one point I made the comment, I said, if your mother gets there to that bus station and you don't get off the bus, she's going to freak out. And of course, this is back in the olden days before cell phones. I hate to think how long ago this is, but probably close to 30 years. Does that seem right? Anyway, so, and my mother, of course, she went along with it. I hadn't made any plan ahead of time that we're going to screw with Andrew, but she just went with it. And so I knew I started feeling a little guilty because the back seat got awful quiet. And I'm sure some of you will know other kids like this. He was one of those kids that, I won't point out Toby, but, kid like that constantly. So anyway, he was back there. He didn't fall back to sleep, and he was quiet. And like I said, I did feel a little guilty. By the way, a little notice just came up on there. I'll be curious to see if that shows up on the video. Anyway, but not guilty enough to put him out of his misery. So we head up, after 80, you get on 81, head up towards Scranton. And as we're getting up there, I keep making up things. And I said, well, you know what we'll do? We'll go up here. There's a good place where we can watch the road. And I said, that Denny's up there, it sets up high off the road. We'll go up there in that parking lot. We can watch the road down there, and we'll watch for them to drive by. And then we'll catch them. Because I said they might have already been to the bus and left already. So we go up there, and we hit the Denny's parking lot. I forget if we pulled in and they had just got there, or we pulled in and they came in like behind us. We both got there real close to the same time. But it's like, oh, look who it is, you know. And of course, Andrew's still oblivious. And I mean, come on. Anybody with any sense, it's like, wait a minute. He was trying to catch the bus. Now he's driving there. Now he's not even going to the bus station. He's just going to sit and watch for the car. Oh, they show up at the same place as us. But no, he. Anyway, so we get out of the car and that. And first thing I say is, "Are you going to tell your mother what you did?" And I saw Barb. She like got this look on her face of, "Oh God, what did he do now?" And Andrew goes, "I was jerking around and we missed the bus." And his parents start laughing. His little sister starts laughing. He's looking around like, what the heck? And finally, I don't know if somebody said something, but he realized the whole time I was screwing with him. And he's like going, oh, wait. He goes, Grammy, you knew? Mom, you? And he looks at his little sister. He goes, even Mary, you knew? You know. So he was just a total, fell for it hook, line, and sinker. And we had a good laugh about it. And then we ate at Denny's and we both went our separate ways. And then later that night, I call and I talk to Barb, the anonymous sister, on the phone. And, oh, and this is where the bread comes in. Barb had, when we gave her back her son, she traded a loaf of bread for him. She brought a loaf of bread that she had made. So anyway, I'm talking to her after we got home. And I say to her, I told her about the trip home. I said, so you won't believe what happened on the way home. This is after we talked first and we were having another laugh at how gullible her son is. I said, so we're coming home. I decided, I said, you know, after State College there, instead of coming down, following the road the way we usually do, I decided to make the turn and go up over Rattlesnake Mountain. If you're not from around here, don't worry about it. But it's basically a state park. And I said, you know, me being the genius I am, I decided to do that. And then she knows I'm heading into a store, and she goes, well, wait. Let me tell Alan, you know, her husband at the time. And I guess, I don't know if they didn't have a speakerphone or what. It would have been the more natural way to do it. But anyway, so I said, so me being the genius I am, I decided to go over Rattlesnake Mountain. And she's then repeating the story. Alan. So, you know, Dan being the genius he is, he decides to go up over Rattlesnake Mountain. And I said, and we get up there. And I'm not going to keep saying it, but every time I'd say something, she'd repeat it to him. I said, we just get up on top. I said, and it's dark. And I said, you know, there's no lights along there. It's just a forested road. I get a flat tire. And of course she's, oh, he gets a flat tire. I said, so I get out, jack the car up. I'm in the back there. At the time I had a Wagoneer. I said, and I just get the spare tire on. And I'm putting the car back down again. And I hear rustling. They're in the bushes off to the side of the road. And of course she, you know, Alan. So he hears rustling, you know. And I said, I'd put the jack in and everything, and here, coming out of the trees is a big old black bear. And she's like, oh my God, you know, what did you do? And I said, so I didn't know what to do. I said, I reached in and I just grabbed the first thing I could get. I grabbed my toolbox and I just threw it at the bear, and I don't know, adrenaline or what, but as luck would have it, that toolbox hit the bear flat on the forehead. And that made him stumble back, and I hurried up. I got in the car and I drove. And I didn't stop again till we got home. I said, so then we get home. I park in the driveway, and I'm go back to fix stuff up in the back of the car, and here I look, and my toolbox is still in there. And I thought, well, what the heck was that big thing like a brick that I threw at the bear? And I realized it was that loaf of bread. So when I said it was that loaf of bread, then and she's still repeating this, So he's in there and he realizes he has the toolbox. And I said, it was the loaf of bread. And she goes, and it was, ah. So the great thing about it was, the conversation started off with the two of us laughing at how gullible her son was. And then she just totally ate up this whole story about me going up there and getting a flat tire and then throwing something at a bear. Anyway, that's another little insight of my family. Tells you something about them. And by the way, I talked to the anonymous sister a couple hours ago, and I almost told her this was going to be my next video, but I decided not to, so this will be a nice little surprise for her. She'll be glad I shared this with more people. So hey folks, peace out, huh?